All right, we're live, man. Facebook Live as usual. Sorry for the delay, guys. We had some technical issues over here. If Elon Musk and Trump can have some tech issues, I guess we're entitled to some tech issues, right?
Yeah, we don't make as much money, so hey, we're allowed to have some technical difficulties from time to time, right?
All right, man. Well, hey, listen, I've been excited about this morning's training, understanding your clients and really breaking down how to do a good health assessment. Make sure you're covering all the needs. So I'll get out of your way and let you roll.
Yeah, not a problem. I appreciate it. Want to kind of go over. We've been talking to you all about here the last few weeks about, hey, get certified, get all of these sort of tests behind you, so to speak, and then work towards reaching out to your clients and so on and so forth, as far as getting these folks lined up for Medicare season this fall. Um, I've had some feedback about that from you all about, hey, how does this conversation flow? Different things of that nature. We've kind of gone over how to do the sales assessment with that form and the needs analysis. I'll weave that in here a little bit so that you all can kind of see how those two things go together. But I want to focus on having this conversation about understanding your clients, addressing their needs, and really getting to know them and build their trust. Because especially with the senior market, once you start to build that trust and educate your clients on what it is you do, how you do it, and so on and so forth, you will start to get these referrals that we keep sort of promising are out there. I have many, many, many agents that have been with me for years that never take a lead, never buy a lead. They just sell organically from word of mouth. And it all really starts here. And I know that some of you all are new to this, so I want to kind of go into how do we understand our clients? How do we address their needs? How do we have this conversation with them? And this is going to be a rather short conversation. I think there's like 9 slides total. So I'm going to go over this kind of in a more holistic manner, and looking at it from the big picture. But you're going to have these conversations on your individual client. Okay. And I'll kind of go into that in a little bit as we kind of go into this. But with anybody that has Medicare, you're going to have the Medicare maze. I always use that kind of as my introduction. Medicare is not straightforward, even getting Medicare A and B, which should just fall from the sky from the government, like, oh, here's your card. That should be relatively straightforward, and everybody should know how that works. But they don't. It's just not that simple. So the Medicare maze is kind of my introduction into this is what I do. This is what I do for a living, and making sure they understand how that goes. So address them, if whether that be over the phone or even like this young lady here, right here at the front door. Hey, happy to be here. I understand you've got some Medicare questions. That's the whole reason I'm here. Right. Let's kind of take this personalized approach and get through the complexities of what it is. Okay. Highlight that your role is to simplify this process. I sign up folks for Part B all the time. Hey, I don't understand. Okay, great. Not a problem. 3 months before you retire, call me. I'll sign you up for your Part B. Do I get paid to do that? No, I don't. But I'm introducing myself. I am making an introduction. I am building trust with that client. Oh, that guy, he took care of it for me. You've heard about clients that run back and forth to Social Security office 10, 15 times. Most of mine, hey, I'll sit with you for 10 minutes over the phone, fill out a form, send it over. 3 weeks or so from now, you'll get your Part B card. But I'm here to simplify the process. Okay. The government intentionally makes it difficult. Yeah, I am not a computer whiz, so this web stream did not start on time. But I am a Medicare expert. That's what I'm good at. That's what I do. So introduce yourself, be the subject matter expert, put them at ease at the front door. Let them know I'm here to clarify all of this. I take an educational approach to it. I tell them you will know more about this Medicare when I leave than when I started. Whether I sold you anything or not, you're going to understand this better than when I started. My kids started school this week. So, hey, I'm a teacher. I go out and I teach people Medicare. They may be on Medicare, but I build that trust because that's the cornerstone of all of these relationships. You all trust me to give you all correct information, correct? So it's the same thing with my client. My client is going to start trusting me to give them correct information. So when the clients trust me and they trust that I understand their needs, they're more likely to follow my recommendations. Sometimes whether they understand them or not. They trust me. Oh yeah, yeah, okay. Which doctor you think is best? I can't give them one doctor. That's illegal. I have to give them multiple doctors. But I can highlight one. Oh, Dr. A, he does this, this, and this. They're great. They do this, and they have a billing staff, and they'll give you your drugs on site, whatever, blah, blah, blah. I can highlight one, but then I have to give them B, C, and D. I can't just steer them into one thing. But building the transparency, building that trust on, okay, here are your options. You don't have A and B. There's C, there's D, there's Medicare supplements, there's Medicare Advantage, there's standalone drug plans, there's all of these other things. So let me help you understand what you have, and let me tell you what the pros and cons of each one of these are. So educating your clients actually empowers them to make the informed decisions that they need. Okay. And if you walk them through in plain English and answer their questions, an objection to purchasing is not actually an objection to buying. An objection is, I don't understand. Okay, let's back up. This is a complex thing. This is super complicated. I've had to take a bunch of tests. I know it's complicated. So let me sit here and build your trust, and let's talk about this. So we talked about in the sales process a little bit that building the trust and building the rapport with the client. If I'm walking into the house like the lady on the first page, I'm going to remember the word form. We'll walk in the door. Hey, nice to meet you. Is this your husband? Is this your wife? Pictures of the grandkids, so on and so forth. Let's talk about your family. Okay. This is a warm-up conversation. I'm building a rapport, building trust. But it's also a marketing conversation, like we talked about on the sales process. Okay. Then I'll go over what they did for a living. What organizations did they belong to? What do they do for fun? I don't ask them, what do you do for recreation? I'm not a robot. Okay. We don't want AI taking this over. So let's have a real conversation. What do you do for fun? Do you go bowling? Do you go play slots? What is it that you do? Right? Are you in a knitting circle? These are important questions. One, because they build trust with clients, but two, before we even get to the conversation down there on the little old letter M for me, before we get to the conversation of me, all of that information that I just got from this client while I was building trust with them are marketing opportunities. Family, these are the cross sellers. Occupation and organizations. Do you all meet with these folks? Or for fun, what do you do? Oh, you go to a bingo hall. How frequently do you go? Oh, you go twice a week? Can I come down there and volunteer? Because if there's one of my clients there, there's more of my clients there. So those are marketing opportunities while I'm building trust. So don't just go through the motions. Actually write the information down. Understand your client. Because also if I write it all down, I can refer back to it later. When I call them in 6 months and have a conversation with them, hey, how are things going at the bingo hall? That's a second opportunity for me to get in there. So we have to do a comprehensive assessment of our clients. Okay. We've built up the rapport with them. That's all fine and good. But now we have to do a needs analysis. Okay. It's a very complex system. It's not just a matter of, are your doctors in this, but are your drugs covered as well? Okay. And with all of the stuff that changes on a political spectrum, congratulations. Now they keep moving the goalposts. So all of these have to be considered in making a plan recommendation to a client. And a lot of people say, oh, I sell med subs. I don't have to go back to them and resell them. Well, if the premiums are going up and they're cranky about it, That's one issue. But the secondary issue is congratulations, their drug plans will change every year. So you still have to talk to them every year, even if you sold them the meds up. So consider all aspects of how this will affect the member and their Medicare coverage. So then my secondary word, after I've sat down in their kitchen, I've been at their front door, first word that pops in my head is form. I need to warm this client up, build that trust. My secondary word, once I get around to I've talked about me, I've been in their house 20 or 30 minutes at this point, potentially. But now we talk about me. This is what I do for a living. I own a business, blah, blah, blah. Been doing this for 18 years, whatever that is, my little elevator speech. But now let's get around to why I've actually come here. This whole Medicare puzzle. Let's sit down. Let's figure it out together. You'll know more about it when I leave here than when I got here. So let's talk about it. What do you have now? What do you like about what you have now? Oh, I like the fact that I can see any doctor. Great, perfect. Or I like the fact that my drugs are covered. Okay, wonderful. What would you change about your plan? What would you add to it? See, I spell needs a little funny. NEADS, because I'm adding or altering this plan from what you currently have, whatever that is. I don't care what it is. I need to change it in order for me to make a sale, correct? So now I have to find out what you like and what you dislike or what you want to make. Pie in the sky, best plan you could ever possibly imagine. What would you have? I would have a zero premium. Great, you just told me you want a Medicare Advantage plan. You don't know those words, but that's what you just told me. And then I go back to, do we have decision makers? Because I'm not going to go through all this process, make plan recommendations, do all of this work, and then find out that I have to turn around and do it all over again. Because the daughter in the last season, or in the family section, when we were talking about on the form, the daughter that lives in Arizona has to come into town for Thanksgiving, and she's the decision maker, then I need to have this conversation during the week of Thanksgiving, not today. So let me pull the needs analysis of what she has out of her. But before we make a plan recommendation, I need to talk to the daughter. But this is how we go through this process. I can have all of this conversation now. I just can't make the plan recommendation until October anyway. But now, because I've had this conversation and they told me the decision maker won't be here till Thanksgiving, I now know that my next appointment's not until November. You see how all this is starting to work together? Pull all of these sales pieces together, do a comprehensive analysis, keep the words form and needs in mind, and then ask the questions about your client. Get them prepped and ready to sell something. We just don't know what it is yet. So what are the things that we have to worry about? Not only do we have to worry about what they like and dislike and what do they want to add to it and so on and so forth, but we have to consider the health considerations. Make sure you stress the importance of knowing all of the doctors that they see regularly. Now, if it was a cardiologist that saved their life 20 years ago and they want to make sure that doctor's in network, but they haven't seen him in 5 years, that one's not so important. Okay. Now, if it's somebody they're seeing regularly, very important. Now, make sure, especially if we're talking about a Medicare Advantage plan that has a network, that that they understand preferred doctors and what's within the network and how we can prevent out-of-network charges. How network doctors, especially a PCP, is like the quarterback of the football team, provides continuity of care. Because a PCP gets information back from the specialist. That cardiologist is sending information back to the PCP, so the PCP knows everything. Explain that to the client. Build the trust with the client. Now, also, we got to keep in mind all of their prescription drugs. Let's make sure that's a huge factor in their Medicare planning, especially in the coming years. Has been in the past because of out-of-pocket costs, will be now because of shifts in how the system's going to work. So mention how the different plans cover different medications. You can impress them. They only have to cover 2 in every category. Well, what the heck does that mean? Well, if it's insulin, there's like 500 insulins out there. Medicare only requires that they cover 2. So they may not cover your insulin. That's why this is important. We have this conversation every year. So start building that trust, building that reliance that you're the source of truth, that you're the one that knows this stuff. Talk about the importance of checking these formularies. Make sure that their medications are covered, especially this year, because the special election periods in the future are changing. So for a lot of folks, if you are on a PDP, MedSup or no MedSup, if you're on a standalone PDP, chances are come December 8th, that's what you're on for the rest of the year, unless you have an extenuating personal circumstance. So making sure that you do a comprehensive health assessment. Understand that the client's current health status is the foundation for any health recommendations. So if you want to go back and see when we went through Sunfire Matrix and how the sales process works through there and doing the needs analysis on the computer, when you go into Sunfire, you can say, how frequently does this person go to the doctor? And it will actually change the pricing. This person goes regularly, or this person goes rarely. Now, the computer is going to have numbers, and it'll tell you what those numbers are. But it'll be like, oh, 10 in-network doctor visits, 2 nights in an inpatient hospital stay, or some random thing like that. But that's how it spits out the number. So getting that client to have that conversation with you and building the trust for them to say, yes, this is about how frequently I go. Perfect. I can give you a realistic expectation about how much you're going to spend. So having that conversation about chronic conditions, frequent doctor visits, any future expected medical needs. Hey, I anticipate I'm going to have knee surgery. Okay, great. I know you want a big, expansive network, but we may need to go to a HMO with a smaller network this year to keep your medical expenses lower, because your maximum out of pocket will be lower. So when they get the therapy bills and the knee surgery and the in-home therapies and all of these other co-payments that will whammy and whammy and whammy them, or do we need to sell them a hospital indemnity plan on the side? What is it that we need to do? But doing that comprehensive health assessment and considering their health, not just doctors and not just drugs, but how frequently, what's the plan here? You have a retirement plan, hopefully, right? Some of you all are buying leads because they want to have a death plan. Let's have a health plan as well. Okay. Lifestyle considerations. Travel and residency. How frequently does this person travel? Now, the majority of us spend most of our lives in about 5 or 6 counties local to where we live. Now, in retirement, we may travel a lot. Okay, well, how much is a lot? Oh, I travel 1 week out of the month. So you make 12 trips a year. Yes, that's great. Wonderful. Where? Because depending on what it is that they're doing, it may be a MedSup suggestion. It may be a Medicare Advantage suggestion with a PPO. It may be reciprocity of networks amongst HMOs. Or it could just be hey, I gave you a really, really good plan because all of your doctors and all of your regular care is going to be here in your local 5 or 6 county area or parish if you're in Louisiana. I don't want to exclude anybody. But if you've got all of this thing going on here, I need to understand why you're traveling and how you're traveling, because I can save you money if we have the conversation. Okay. Now, some plans will be better for travelers that are out of the country. Some people will be better. Some plans are better for people that travel and intend on getting care while they're traveling. Okay. So it depends on the answer to your question as to what I'm suggesting. Now cover other lifestyle factors. Talk about what do they do for occupation fun, right? Family situations. Do they need access to certain care? Do they not have somebody that can give them a ride? Do I need to consider transportation as something that is something critical to this person's health care? Or do they have lots of people that can give them rides? Just as an example. Okay. But understanding all these ancillary details will help me create a more personalized plan for this person. And what does that do? One, it creates a happy customer that will give me referrals, and two, stay on my plan. Because Medicare and healthcare pays you again and again and again for this person. So the key is I want to keep them there. Now make sure you create urgency, especially if we're having conversations with them now. We're going to be busy in October, November, and December. If you're going to do this business, you're going to be busy at that time of the year. I'm trying to fill my pipeline right now. I had one client or one agent that called me last week. Yeah, I'm booked up until the week of Thanksgiving. She's already filled up October. She's already filled up November with a minimum of 4 to 5 appointments a day. She's considering adding in weekend times because she's already starting to run out of AEP because after Thanksgiving, she's only got 10 days left. So I have to highlight to my client that certain deadlines, whether it be special election periods, just annual enrollment, or whatever, is going to increase demand on me. Increase demand on for appointments. So I'm hitting my clients now, email, phone, text, whatever it may be. Are you happy with your plan? Do we need to do a needs analysis? So on and so forth, so we can fill the pipeline. I want to make sure that you're not left in all of the fuzz that's going on because it'll be a Medicare enrollment season. It'll be a presidential election season. There's a lot going to be happening all at once. I don't want my clients to be left behind. Now, because of the special election period situation that are changing, I'm going to bring that up as a consequence of delaying. Oh, med-sup client with a PDP, I understand that. I understand you're happy with your plan and so on and so forth, but we may want to look at this before December 7th. Because depending on your personal circumstances, you may not have an election period later. That's not a lie. So I need to create the call to action. I need to get my clients to schedule their appointments as soon as possible so that they get the attention that they need and deserve. I have time to find their best plan. So let me do the needs analysis on you now. Go do my homework at the rollouts with the carriers and learn about the kickoffs and learn about all the plans and do all of that I need to do. And then I come back with them with the recommendation when the daughter's in town for Thanksgiving. And make sure that they understand that if I do the needs analysis now, I've got plenty of time to do this in a thoughtful way. Whereas if they come at me on December 7th and I've got everybody else in the world coming at me at December 7th, there's only 24 hours in the day. There's only so many clients that I can physically see on that last day. So how personally, my 6th and 7th are already filled on my personal calendar. So there's 2 days gone. So if my clients call me on the 6th or 7th, sorry, I can't help you. I'm already busy. So make sure that you understand that doing a health assessment is not just doctors and prescriptions. It's the lifestyle, it's the family, it's the all of the other ancillary questions that go into those form and needs analysis questions. Write down the answers. Build the trust. Get the knowledge and the education of your client up and get your knowledge of your client up. Because once I can refer back to my client and say, yeah, how are the hearing aids going that you got? We talked about giving you a fund for hearing aids. I found out this client purchased hearing aids and thanked me for it. I wrote down in my CRM tool, Mrs. So and so got her hearing aids. Guess what the first words out of my mouth are when I call her next month? How are the hearing aids? I'm building trust with that client because I remembered. It's not that I necessarily remembered, I wrote it down. But I got to create urgency with my clients to get the plans that they need. Build trust with my clients when I first walk through the door, educating them, showing them what I know, and then taking the time to truly understand who they are. Not just on the health end of this, not on the drugs and the doctors, but on the lifestyle of that as well. Any questions? I think you're on mute, Eric.
Yep. Sorry, man. No, it was great stuff. I had noticed Keegan had chimed in about halfway through asking how can we get these slides, specifically the one about the with um, the information you're trying to get from the client.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to make that available in a maybe Google Drive link or something and post it under the video after it loads?
Yeah, that's not a problem.
Perfect. So Keegan, it'll be on Facebook underneath the video and a Google Drive link afterwards. So thanks, Paul. I really appreciate it, man. This is great stuff as always.
My pleasure. Like I tell everybody all the time, I do things that are simple. I live by the KISS mentality. Keep it simple, stupid. I've been doing Medicare for 18 years. Most people are very intimidated by it, but don't be. It's just a matter of listening. Just smart people listen more than they speak. I know I speak a lot when I'm on these, but when I'm in a client's house, like I said, that first 20 or 30 minutes, I ask them 3 questions and I let them speak. And just keep letting them feed me information and I can give them a proper plan recommendation. And yes, this year, most of my clients that I've made, I've got 5 more clients to make contacts with. Okay. I've been doing exactly what I've been preaching you all to do. Almost to a man. There's a handful that, yes, we need to make some changes, whether it be plan exits or whatever, right? Or just don't like the way the plan's working for them. Totally fine. Can't make everybody happy the first swing, right? But the vast majority of them are, yeah, I'm comfortable with my plan. I still take the opportunity to educate them. Okay, some things are changing. If they're on a Medicare Advantage plan, I still have until March 31st to change them. So I tell them, I'm now putting you at the end of the line. I've created non-urgency, right? Unless something changes, you're now in January and you will hear from me then. And we'll go over the 30 and the 60 and the 90-day calls of all these folks at the beginning of the year that we'll go over with you all and how I handle my clients. I onboard my clients January, February, and March, lock them in. Come July and August, when I'm calling them, they're happy. Nobody has issues. So if they don't have issues, I'm not going to keep them tied to a plan. Any other questions? Thank you all for your attention today. I appreciate you all very much.
That's great stuff, man. I think we got what I mean. Just a couple of quick cleanup notes, maybe for people that are in the contracting process. So, if you don't have your AHIP done, get that done ASAP. If you once you get your AHIP done, you got however many carriers are doing, you got to get those certifications completed. That's kind of where I'm at. I finished my AHIP, but I'm kind of in the middle of doing my carrier certs right now. So one of my agents was asking yesterday, well, how many of these things are there? Well, it depends on how many products you want to represent. So like the smartest thing you can do is to in the very beginning is figure out, okay, where am I selling? Like you said, most of us spend, our life inside 5 counties. Some people are selling that nationwide. Other people are, selling more locally. So if you're confused about what to offer, hit us up and we can kind of guide you to the right products. But I mean, the good ones nationally are, United, Aetna, Humana, right? for national contracts. And then based on where you live, it may make sense to get one or two regional carriers just so you have the best of whatever people want in that area. So, but the fewer you have, the fewer certifications you need to do, and also the easier it is to work through the process because you don't have to like you don't have to hunt through like 50 different plans. So, do you have any comments on that?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, understanding that kind of the pace of how all of this works. I know most of you all this year, especially, are very brand new, but understand that every year you're going to have an AHIP, a certification, all of these other things. Yes, the amount of sales we make in Medicare ebbs and flows depending on the enrollment seasons, but the average agent makes about 50% of their sales outside of enrollment season. Having said that, don't overwhelm yourself with too many certifications. But if you have either, hey, I sell all over the country, like I think I have 18 certs to do this year, something crazy like that. I've only still got 3 left. So I mean, I've been hammering away at them. And those 3 that
That's
are
pretty good.
left haven't.
That's pretty good out of 18.
But the only way that I'm able to do that is I understand, oh, this month is the month I'm supposed to do AHIP. This is the month that I'm supposed to do my certs. And I block the time off. You all time block for making cold calls. You all time block for all these other things. You also have to time block for the administrative side of it. And if you get really good at that and you understand the pace of Medicare, this can be a 3-hour-a-day job and making 6 figures in a very short period of time every year, working 3 hours a day. So
if you're good at it,
if
so
you're good at it,
what
it's
we're
not, yeah, you've got to be good at it.
Well, thanks, Paul. Thanks for everybody for being on, and we'll look forward to continuing the series next week.
Yep, I
Cheers.
appreciate y'all. Have a good day.